What does the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty have to do with our spiritual growth? Surprisingly, it has a lot to do with it. And that is what we will talk about in our final episode of the 7 things spiritually strong women don't do. I am Coach Natalie, founder of Because of His Grace Ministries, and your personal development and spiritual growth coach. And this is Manna for Today podcast. As we close out this series, let us quickly review what we have learned so far about what spiritually strong women don't do. Because remember, when we learn what they don't do, we can then discern what they do if we have that desire to become spiritually strong. So number 1, they don't fall apart when their prayers are not answered the way that they want them. Spiritually strong women don't have what we call grown-up tantrums. Instead, they trust in the Most High's way. Number 2, spiritually strong women don't ask Jesus or Yeshua to walk with them. Instead, they walk with Yeshua, meaning that they follow him and trust in his ways. And number 3, they don't live distracted. Yes, we all get distracted, but a spiritually strong woman doesn't live in a state of constant distraction. Number 4, spiritually strong women, they don't stay stuck in doubting the Most High. Now, they may experience some doubt, but they don't stay stuck in it. Number 5, they don't ignore the Most High's instructions. Instead, they align their lives with the truth of the scriptures. And number 6, spiritually strong women don't live unexamined lives. Rather, they are willing to look in the mirror and be intentional about throwing off anything that hinders their commitment to following the Most High. And finally, here we are talking about a fairy tale, Sleeping Beauty, to use as a spiritual metaphor to illustrate the 7th thing that spiritually strong women don't do. They don't sleepwalk through life. Instead, they are fully conscious of who they are, what they do, and why they do it. And they are on a journey of lifelong learning, self-improvement, and are committed to becoming spiritually mature and living as daughters of the Most High. Now, if you remember the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty, it is about a princess who fell under the curse of an evil fairy. And the curse originally was that she would die. But instead, the curse was altered by the good fairies, and the princess didn't die, but she fell into a deep sleep until her prince came along, kissed her, breaking the curse, and living happily ever after, as all fairy tales do. Now, why do I tell this to you? Because many of us are like Sleeping Beauty and don't even realize it. We have fallen under the spell of the enemy of our souls, whose job is to distract us and destroy our destiny of being Yah's set-apart people. Therefore, because of this deception, we are asleep, meaning that we are unaware of our true identity. We don't know our heritage and therefore our power and our worth. We are unconscious about the choices we make and their eternal consequences. So how do you know if you are asleep or sleepwalking through life? Number 1, you rely solely on your 5 senses to guide you. You pursue those things that you desire without any consideration of the Most High. Number 2, you shrink and act like everyone else instead of being set apart, a chosen generation and a royal priesthood as is described in the scriptures. And number 3, you are influenced by the culture around you when you know that the majority of the things the world determines as right has already been declared wrong by the Most High. But because of your desire to fit in, You compromise your beliefs and therefore fall into a deep sleep, being led by the deceit of your enemy, whose job is to destroy you. Never forget that. Never forget that the enemy is always on his job and you are his target to destroy until something changes. Perhaps it is frustration of being unfulfilled with life and you start to question your beliefs. You start to seek more understanding because what you've been doing is no longer working for you. There is a stirring in your spirit and your soul that there is more to learn and more to experience in your understanding and in your relationship with the Most High. And I think Yeshua, our Messiah, said it best when he told the disciples that there was so much more that he wanted to share with them, but they weren't ready to receive it. And I believe that this is why the scripture says to seek the Most High with all of your heart. And when you do, you will find him. But because we have been asleep, we don't seek him outside of the traditions that we have been taught. Meaning that, like most of us, we grew up going to church and following a particular denomination, and we follow the doctrines of that denomination, and then we are conditioned to approach the Father and approach Yeshua and our faith based on what we have been taught. And we aren't taught to be critical thinkers and to ask questions. So therefore, we never ask questions like, why do we believe the way that we do? What are the origins of our denomination? Where did they come from? And where do we find them in the Bible? You see, denominations does not exist in the Bible. There's no such thing. Just like race doesn't exist in the Bible. The Bible talks about nations and culture, not about denominations and race. Yet we ascribe to these denominations and these constructs and allow them to tell us how to live out our faith and approach the Most High. And while on the surface, some may say that's okay, but it's really not, because it's not biblically based. And it's the perfect way to stay asleep and to sleepwalk through life. So we have to ask the question, why in the world would we follow a denomination or a doctrine that we don't see in the scriptures? I mean, we say that we love the scriptures. We say that the scriptures are a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, but yet we follow these doctrines and beliefs and these rituals that are not in the scriptures. You see, Yeshua was not Baptist. He wasn't Methodist. He wasn't Seventh-day Adventist, nor was he a Jehovah's Witness, and he definitely wasn't a Catholic. He was the Son of the Most High who followed the Torah and the instructions of his Father. And his disciples who followed him did the same thing. They didn't make up their own rules and ways to worship the Father. Instead, they worshiped him in spirit and in truth. They followed Yahusha, and Yahusha followed the Father. And we are to do the same. So why is this important for you to grasp? Why am I talking about this in such depth? Because if you don't understand this, you will fall easily into the deceit of the enemy. And just like Sleeping Beauty, you will fall into the curse and sleepwalk through life, never waking up to your true identity, never understanding the true gospel message and your heritage as a daughter of the Most High. You fall into the trap that the enemy has deceived the whole world, and you fall asleep. You see, we have become so good at learning how to be a Christian that we don't know how to be a daughter of the Most High. And unfortunately, they are not synonyms. They are completely different because, see, being that Christian woman is falling under the banner of Christianity, which again is not in the Bible. But being a daughter of the Most High is outlined from the beginning of Genesis all the way to the end of the book in Revelation. And see, we have diligently developed the habit of going to church and learning how to do church instead of preparing to be the bride, awaiting the return of the bridegroom and becoming the church. And sadly enough, I have met women who have been in church 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and yet they don't know how to fight their spiritual battles. They don't know how to be victorious no matter what. They don't know how to take the scriptures and use it as a weapon to fight the battles and become victorious over the enemy. Why? Because we're going through the motions and we aren't learning the truth. We aren't obeying the scriptures, and we're not learning how to apply them, to understand them, and to walk and live in the culture of the Bible rather than the culture of this world. We're good at speaking the kingdom language, and we look good on the outside. But my sister, that does not help us when our backs are up against the wall and the enemy is relentlessly pursuing us, and for a good reason. Because, see, the enemy knows more than what you know. He knows that if you ever wake up to the truth of who you are and start walking in your authority over him, he will no longer be able to control your life and deceive you and to keep you in this deep sleep. And what will happen is that when you wake up, you then flip the script and become a threat to the enemy. And he knows this. He knows this to be fact. But you see, spiritually strong women, they don't sleepwalk through life. Yes, it is true they were once asleep, but now they are awake and on the journey of learning their true identity and walking in the authority that Yeshua died and rose for her or for them to have. I speak so passionately about this. And this series was so important to me because I was sleeping beauty. I was caught up in doing church, but not caught up in being the church. I was caught up in walking in my truth and what my denomination taught me versus walking in the truth of the Most High. And you see, my sister, my truth or your truth will keep you in bondage and keep you asleep. But Yah's truth will set you free and wake you up to your purpose and to your function and walking and working in his kingdom. And this is my prayer. That your heart will be stirred, that your spirit will be frustrated, and that you will desire to seek him with all of your heart, that you will desire to learn more, that you will desire to take your faith to the next level of understanding and obeying the scriptures. That is my prayer, that you too will wake up to the truth of who you are, and that understanding that when you wake up, you give permission to everyone around you to also wake up. My hope is that you will rise up because your Messiah, Yeshua, has sacrificed his life to break the curse. Hallelujah. He sacrificed the life to break the curse, and rather for you to be asleep, but for you to wake up in the truth that you are a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that you are a daughter of the Most High, and that he's already laid out his plans for you in his word. Oh, that is my prayer and my hope. Thank you for investing your time in listening to this powerful and enlightening series of spiritually strong women and what they don't do, so that you can become that spiritually strong and wise woman who was fully awoke to her true identity, her worth, and her value in Yah's eternal kingdom. Go back through and listen again to the episodes that resonate with you and explore the scriptures. I especially encourage you to meditate on the scriptures because you see, that is where the power is. It's in the words of the Most High. It's in His scriptures. Because the world will fade away, but His word is everlasting. And subscribe to this YouTube channel because the theme for this year is sleep and beauty. It is time to wake up. And we will take everything that we know, everything that we've been learning, and take it to the next level and become spiritually strong, wise women, fully woke to the truth of who we are as daughters of the Most High. And you won't want to miss anything that we are offering this coming year. And if you ever want to go deeper, reach out for a coaching session at CoachNatalieRudd.com and schedule your free clarity session. And be blessed until our next episode as we continue to create a lifestyle of faith. Shalom.